Hi there, this is Raj Saxena with Voice Ignite. We're here with Harpreet Bui, our guest. Today's topic is going to be talking about AI and where we headed with AI. So I'm going to let Harpreet take it away. Thanks very much, Harpreet, for joining us today.
Hi, Raj. Nice to be here. And excited to talk about the AI journey, because it is definitely a journey.
Great. Can you give me a little background on yourself?
Sure. So I've started my career in the enterprise space for quite a bit. And I would say it's been an evolution. I started ground up working for one of the big 4 firms and started my career in tax and audit, quickly evolved to tech consulting. And it spanned a wide array of enterprise apps to data analytics and, spent my whole career in the data space. And now it's evolved into where AI is headed.
Oh, great. So can you talk about what your latest projects you're working on in this space here? I know you have mentioned you're working for one of the big top 10 auto manufacturers right there. So from that perspective there, could you kind of give me an insight as far as what's happening? And where do you see, what you're doing today, and then what advice would you be able to give, other entrepreneurs, startup founders, business owners, as far as kind of guiding aspect of where things are headed? Obviously, the biggest fear is, am I going to lose my job? That's everybody's big question today. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great. So that's the big question. Everyone's, what is AI going to do? How is it going to impact me? So my biggest advice is, it's a journey. It's definitely a marathon, and there's a race out there, not only to understand how AI is going to impact everyone's role. It's going to impact every industry, every role. And also, what does that journey look like, and how do we get there? So one of the key projects I'm working on right now is a big automotive, and they're one of the more conservative ones out there, I'd say. And the interesting path for them, as most companies, big enterprise, is to learn, right? What can AI do for us? And the first step is, what are the use cases? AI can't solve everything, right? That's my biggest advice there. AI can't solve everything, but to kind of step back and understand the tech out there and, look within your organization, whether it's big enterprise, mid-size, or small. What are some of our pain points? What are our processes, and how do we think some automation with AI can help? So from an automotive perspective, right, it's vast, right? So there's a lot of capability being evaluated for in-vehicle, right? Because the vehicle is no longer just a car, right? It's part of the whole connected ecosystem. As we continue to build out electric vehicles, as we build out hybrid vehicles, right, the technology is more and more connected than ever before. So there's a big push for how do we treat the vehicle not just as like a dumb vehicle, but a interconnected, intelligent hardware component, technically, just like your phone, just like any device in your house. How do we merge, right, the software capability, the hardware of what the car is? So there's a lot of interesting capability that's being worked on. But an area that I'm working on the other side of the whole automotive process, is the customer experience, as far as the purchasing of a vehicle, the servicing of a vehicle, and the ongoing engagement with the automakers, the dealerships, and the customer. That overall journey of vehicle ownership, maintenance, and loyalty.
So would it be safe to say that, for example, I buy a new car and it's got the infotainment system in there, and I'm driving along and somehow my screen goes dead. So now, or it's partially working, say one of the LED panels failed, being a brand new car, say 6 months old, is there like a call button like OnStar or something like of that nature? And then what happens from there? Can you kind of walk me through that?
Yeah, so there's definitely OnStar capability as well as other providers. So that's more the in-vehicle, right, journey. So right now, yes, you can do a simple, right, press a button, you'll get a live human.
Okay.
That'll answer the phone and help you out. But where the tech is going, there's an opportunity to automate the entire back end and make it more autonomous. or hybrid, where you would directly talk to a potential voice agent.
Okay.
That can help you in a seamless conversation flow
Right.
with your problem, look behind the scenes through an agentic workflow,
Mhm.
and help you understand your problem and help you resolve it as well, right? That's where the tech is going.
Right.
Right now, it's still early stages,
Mhm.
and it's a constant iterative development, test, feedback loop cycle. So that's one area.
Right. So in the sense that if, for example, the example I gave you for the connected car, my panel has gone out, now pretty much you're seeing LED screens across the dashboard. So if one panel has failed, I make a phone call. I'm potentially talking to a AI robot, not a human. And then he knows, or she, based on how it is actually knowing my car information, my purchase date, what's been going on, if I bought it in for service. He knows all the information to say, oh, okay, the panel seems to be there. It could probably potentially look up, hey, we had a faulty module. It'll automatically schedule me for bringing the car in for repair.
Wow, that's a great user flow, right? So, and this is a great segue too.
Right.
Where's AI going and how good is your AI solution? Because these are all solutions.
Right.
So in that flow of what you just said, the biggest component for a successful application and use of AI is, what does the data look like behind the scenes? Right. So in order for me to press that button, that's easy.
Right.
For it to go to an agentic orchestration, that's another flow. But to know who I am, what type of vehicle I have, how long I've had it, the service, when I bought it, and to give you the right answer and have it in an engaging conversation to help solve the problem, there's a whole layer behind that.
Right.
And this comes, this is all orchestrated through having a data orchestration layer that's well thought out and architected so you can seamlessly understand, yeah, hi, this is, Kelly. Kelly owns a Lexus RX. She bought it 6 months ago.
Okay.
And so based on her calling in, we're already doing some of this capability where we call it Know Me, Know My Vehicle.
Okay.
Where you call in, recognizes the phone number you're calling from.
Right.
And then at the same time with that, we can link your VIN. We can ask back, hey, are you calling about this specific vehicle? Because you may have multiple within your household. Once it narrows down, yes, this is a specific vehicle. The other integration, right, the telemetry data you mentioned, it notices there's a faulty issue within the dashboard. So we'd have to connect telemetry data, right, to understand what component is failing, do some research on the back end, come back and say, oh, is this the problem? Then the next step, obviously, would be to go look at the source of truth, which is owner's manuals, understand exactly where the problem is and help you navigate. But let's say at that point, the AI agent, or maybe it's a hybrid. One thing that we've been definitely working through and as an ethos of the company culture and mindset is we don't want to eliminate the human, right? We want to have hybrid solutions where it's the autonomous agents working with the human, keep the human in the loop, right? Very core to the company's ethos. And so as part of that, at the same time now, all this data that's been gathered by an agent can be seamlessly handed off to a human. Human says, hey, let me help you further. And then they can walk you through details, right? That's one flow. If it's a simple flow, they can log the problem, help you resolve it, and or take another action where they'll create a case and help you go find a dealer, right? Get an appointment, and then have you go and take your car in for the shop. So there's multiple paths, right, that can be taken based on the flow.
Very good. So based upon our title and topic of the, for our listeners is to understand that where the job's going, is my job going to go away? Obviously we had the Industrial Revolution back in the 1800s. people thought the same thing. As any new technology and machineries come in, the avenue to learn has got to be there from us folks to really jump on the technology today. Where would you advise if someone's an office worker, project manager, those kind of blue collar / white collar roles, what should they be focusing on their skill today? Knowing that we're still 2 years in since OpenAI launched the AI, and obviously people have been using it for a lot longer in military perspective and government, but for the public, it's been only 2 years. Where do you see? What advice would you give to somebody who's saying, "Hey, yeah, I do want to work with learning something," and obviously somebody who may be a student, listening out to the podcast? What would be your advice?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think everybody's on that, has that at top of mind, whether you're a small company, mid-size, an individual, someone working at big enterprise. The AI is impacting every industry, every role right now, right? So even if you're a worker in that hybrid space where you do physical work like a therapist or, even folks in the electrical fields, there's some impact of AI that's going to impact you, whether it's informational, whether it's your day-to-day just data processing. So one thing I recommend to folks, like, whatever industry you're in, whether it's finance, legal, automotive, take a look at what your job functions are, right? And kind of assess, hey, what AI tools are out there that can help me in my day-to-day job function, right? And learn it. You got to go out and seek out, hey, for example, let's say, and I'm someone in legal and a core of my job is to read through contracts, summarize them, and provide a brief. There's great AI tool capability for that, right? So go learn what the best capabilities are and start experimenting.
Right.
You're listening to the first episode of Voice Ignite podcast. Will AI take your job? With our guest, Harpreet Bui.
You have to start using it. The best way to learn is to use, right? And then number two, from a mid-sized, big company, even small, go seek out what current processes you have that are routine, that have a pattern that can be automated because they are simpler tasks. Using autonomous agents or using semi-autonomous agentic workflow that uses AI, that's low-hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Save some of the complex tasks for a human and a agentic solution together and hybrid to work. So you got to really go through how we work today and map what capabilities make sense for AI versus those that could be in the middle and those that still need human touch.
Right. So obviously, because, we're all seeing that Google has Gemini, Bing, we have Claude, there's so many, and there's so many new platforms coming out there, right? You can build apps, either from Lovable, Replit, which are big names already, or you can go build an app from just your ideas. And even there's somebody new on the market very quickly.
Right.
And obviously it's going to leapfrog, and that's kind of where we're at the stage. So would it be safe to say that go learn something, build something, and try it out? And to see from there that based on whatever industry you may be in, obviously there's the orchestration tools, which are like N8N and other compatible tools like that, which allows you to program, for example, go to my Google, contact the top 20 people in my email and send an email that I'm away on vacation. Simple automation like that, versus, somebody comes to your website, look at the prospects who are coming out there and run a chat bot, which will chat with them, asking them what they would like to do, and then put them into a Google Sheet and log that, and then take that data and put it into your CRM. So that is one level of automation at a high level component. What else would you want to expand on that?
Wow, there's so many. So going back to what I stated earlier, right? This is an opportunity to evaluate processes or things you want to do. How can I optimize mundane routine tasks, right? That's what AI is great at. How can I, and evaluate those. So you brought up a few good ones, right? Like, let's say I want to just have, instead of having someone go in and have to scour data, organize it, create a list, send an email. Great use of AI, right? So you can write a workflow to do that, right? And then to expand upon that, again, I look at, you have to look at the cost as well.
Right.
All these platforms have a cost element. And for every call you make, every action that's taken, that's a cost. So people forget some things may not be cost effective to autonomize. So, you really have to look through your flow of work and start finding things that are a good use case fit and some that aren't. So yeah, it's vast, but I would say it's a journey, right?
Okay.
You can't do it all at once, but I think the number one area is awareness and see what's out there and incrementally start utilizing some of this capability.
Mm-hmm. So for example, like the big people who create a lot of data are law firms, right? I know for a fact, because from what I do for a living, we deal with law firms a lot, and their files could be 50 gigs, could be 100 gigs, 150 gigs, 200 gigs. And that's audio, video, text, PDFs, all combined into one big giant file. But for it to go through, and that's for just one case, one customer.
Right.
So obviously going through and building your own LLM, that is possible with that kind of raw data, right? Per case. That if we took that data and said, building your own LLM to say, hey, I want to go and build me our own knowledge base and then advise me as a lawyer, what can I do from this case? And then it can spit out, here's a link of what we did on this case and here's what the resolution was. Would that be a good use right there?
Yeah, no. So you bring up a very good point along the journey, right? First is, let me analyze some good use cases, right? Next is, can I just throw an LLM at it, right? Everybody thinks that the ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini are going to solve the world. They're LLMs, and they've been trained on vast amounts of mostly public information. But you kind of nailed it. And this is where the industry is going, right? How do I take this capability of vast information that's been vectorized and indexed, and on top of that, I want to combine it with my proprietary data set that's going to help me fine tune my actions and automation, right? Is what you're asking. So the cool thing is most of these LLMs, you can layer in and you can add your proprietary data, but you still need to vectorize it, index it, label it,
right,
to be optimized in order to work with the LLM. Once you do that, you can lay that framework on top of your data set and start asking those questions from a prompt perspective. And again, the prompts, the more refined they are, the
right,
better the result.
So that means I cannot just take a folder, say, for example, for the listeners, whether you're on a Mac or a Windows machine, and I have a folder with all this, like a law firm data, right? You've got video,
right,
testimonies, it's got multi-mode, mixed media,
right,
and PDFs, where I cannot just say, hey, look at this thing here and give me an idea.
Right.
It has to be structured.
No, I wouldn't say it has to be structured, but there's an element of having it. I guess we can say vectored and indexed, which is a lot quicker. It's more labeling in order for the response to be more efficient and effective. Because if you just point to this set and ask the LLM to respond back, it'll give you a response, but it may not be as refined. You've heard the word hallucination, because it's thinking based on the context of how you ask.
Right.
It'll give you a response based on what maybe hundreds have said.
Right.
But you want it very narrowed and fine-tuned to how your company responds. Maybe for compliance rules,
right,
maybe for specific tone. That's why there's something called guardrails.
Okay.
And through prompt injection, you can inject, hey, when you go find the answer, respond back with these guardrails in mind from a compliance, legal. Oh, and by the way, make sure you exclude or, customer name or, there's opportunity to fine tune.
To redact certain information. So that means you've got to put that in your question.
In your prompt.
Into the LLM that, okay, here's what you got to have.
Right.
So if a law firm wants to look at this and they're like, okay, we need to sit there and we've got terabytes of data.
Yeah.
Right. Say you've got 10 terabytes of raw data of cases that date back 10 years. That obviously, that takes labor and time for somebody to work on this data piece, go and give it access to those files. Some may be zip files and whatnot, which it may or may not unzip automatically. Go get all that data, extract it, and then build case by case, if I wanted to train my own LLM, for example, because I don't want it to go to the world to give random answers, but for all the cases that we've had as a law firm to go through and sort the data, find out what it is, and obviously what kind of law are you doing, right? So based on that very specific kind of law, would that be possible?
Yeah, absolutely possible. So the good thing is what you're saying is the speed of build and getting your data fine-tuned has gotten faster because there is, the capabilities of ingestion, extracting, transforming has all been combined into like reasoning components within these LLMs.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the speed at which you can do that's a lot faster. All I'm saying is and the other great part, you can also just take structured and unstructured data and to vectorize and index it doesn't take as long as it did before. And a lot of these large language models and the tools and infrastructure that they provide enable you to do that, to ingest and combine. So the process has definitely gotten faster, but yes, there's an element of effort to segment, categorize, and fine-tune your data set to get
that's awesome.
The answers you need.
Yep. Well, thank you, Harpreet. You're listening to the Voice Ignite podcast. We're featuring Harpreet Bui, who has been a pioneer in her industry, obviously having dealt with big data, having dealt with enterprise, having dealt with startups. I believe if I'm correct, you had 2 exits yourself, right?
Yeah. It's been a great run.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm excited. I feel like we're in a new decade where there's a lot more opportunity for startups to, showcase their talent and hoping to find a use case right now
right.
to create another product in the sphere. And yeah.
So one last aspect would be, would AI be physically into a robot who's going to come clean your home?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a robot, is just the hardware, right? So the brains behind it is basically software, right? And
which is the AI.
Exactly.
Right.
Which is going to be harnessed with LLMs. And
I'm still waiting for to clean and sweep the house and do my laundry.
Yep. It's gonna do the basic cleaning and tasks, but then it's also gonna be able to maybe even help you come up with like new recipes. You just like Alexa, hey Rosie, can you help cook up a new new Indonesian dish for me? And boom.
Right. Download the recipe from some online and
prepare.
The ingredients in your fridge, talk to the fridge and find out, oh, we're missing something. Okay, let's order it.
Yep.
Get it delivered in 10 minutes and
that's it.
Rosie's making the dish for you.
So it goes back to where we started, right? We talked about like the car or the vehicle as a hardware component.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the connected services. Same thing with the robots, with a lot of other connected devices that are coming up.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being on our podcast today. My name is Raj Saxena here with Voice Ignite, and we'll continue for our next guest on our next podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you want to get in touch with the interviewee, Harpreet Bui, you can visit her LinkedIn page.